Hello, good evening, and welcome back, and Merry Christmas to one and all. And hey, maybe there is actually some good news. As glad tidings of great joy, Boris Johnson presents his Brexit gift to Britain in Christmas video message as Tory Brexiteers and Labour look to set to back agreement in Parliament vote next week. How wonderful, and Merry Christmas. Maybe. Oh dear, it seems like the black pills are coming out. But no, it could actually be that it is positive. The idea that we're pushing for is, of course, to say all the laws are going to be made in the UK, and therefore we can't appeal to the European Court of Human Rights anymore. So good luck with Marcus Meechan as Count Dankula and how he's going to be appealing his decision, of course. But most of the issues now seem to be going over to the fisheries. And in terms of the fisheries, they were saying that the European Union can only catch 25% of the fish in UK waters instead, so that the UK is going to go from like half to 2/3 to whatever the upward limit might be, given that in 4 years' time there will be a formal review and then decide if we wish to continue as we are or if we wish to quit and change things. So it'd give it 4 years at least. And of course that is part of the transition period as well, instead of it being like 14 years or forever like May's deal was going to be, which thankfully was voted down. That this one seems to be adequate. As I say, we can't know everything that's in it, and there will probably be some inevitable landmines, as Nigel Farage says, but from what he said, from what he's seen so far, which is all that any of us can see, that if Nigel Farage were to be an MP, then he would actually support this bill. There are some hard Brexiteers that are saying that they wouldn't support it, the ERG. 10 of them, at least for sure, saying, no, we're still going to vote against this. This isn't good enough for what we're looking for. But it does seem like it is actually going to pass, and there have been some compromises. As I say, the fisheries is one of them. Instead of 80%, we're going down to 25% just to make them happy, but it can change over the next few years. So the good news is supposed to be, well, it's finally over, and that's it. The war is over, as Nigel Farage said. So what's gone on? Well, Boris Johnson has finally confirmed that a post-Brexit trade deal has been agreed with the European Union. No tariffs, no quotas either. Like jumbo Canada style, if you will. Downing Street insists the pact will take back control of our money, borders, laws, trade and fishing waters. And of course there is a concern that if they wish to focus on one particular thing so much, then what is it that they're ignoring? And so that is what might be in the agreement that we're not privy to as of yet, that would only come up later. That it's like the big action hides the small action, to use the magician's term. But maybe I'm being too cynical, but maybe that's just what the government has taught me to do with Brexit over the past few years. Ursula von der Leyen has hailed the deal as fair and balanced, and said EU negotiated from position of strength. Well, both sides have to say that, of course. But if the EU is saying it's fair and balanced, but is misleading enough to say it's from a position of strength, then that gives me cause for concern. Sir Keir Starmer says he will order his Labour MPs to back the deal, saying it was thin, but better than nothing. Sure, but I think you also have to be seen to actually back this deal, given that you lost so many bloody votes. You lost your red wall last time in the election, that you have to do something in order to win them back, as you were a bit too wishy-washy and flip-flopping about it, giving no hard answer. And briefing wars about who has won are already ramping up as sides prepare to sell the agreement to their voters. Which is fine. If both sides are happy and they wish to both say that they've won, well then that's brilliant, and that also then pushes it forward to have better agreements in the future for any other negotiations, that you don't want to leave on bad terms. That the UK and the European Union are both massive blocks, and so you do want a good relationship. You're not cutting them off and then finding somebody else, because there are only about a dozen in the world. So you do still want a good relationship with them. And it goes to what Patrick Bet-David of Valuetainment says with his negotiations as an entrepreneur himself for life insurance, PHP agency, that he will say to people, hey, I'm not looking for a one-night stand. I'm looking for marriage, which is to say that he wants a good relationship built up, that they can do trade in the future instead of just trying to pull one over them for the time being. And also, especially on such a big stage that's so public like this, if you get the reputation for bending your opposition over a barrel and taking everything from them that you can, nobody else is going to want to enter into a negotiation with you because you've got that sort of reputation. Whereas if both sides feel happy, then more people are going to wish to negotiate with you. It's almost getting to Sun Tzu's Art of War, that if you've got a lot, pretend that you have very little. It's that kind of tactic. So, yes, saying that both sides have won, then will make other people more willing to negotiate in the future. And that is really what matters. So, moving forward, they say, the early response from Tory MPs was positive, with one senior figure telling Mail Online they were pleased with the details so far, and maybe it will be a happier Christmas after all. And Nigel Farage has also signalled early support before the full 500-page text emerged, suggesting he would vote for the package, in principle, if he were a Member of Parliament. In a move that effectively guarantees the Prime Minister victory, Sir Keir has risked the wrath of his Remain backing benches by announcing he will order his MPs to back the deal, which, as I say, he kind of has to do because he wants to win back that red wall in the next election. So the fishing industry has accused him of sacrificing them to EU demands, while there will be concerns that Brussels could exploit a 4-year break clause to extract more favourable terms further down the line. Well, then we have 4 years to make ourselves a more virulent country and something that is not worth losing, even more than we are at the moment, of course, despite the COVID restrictions. So at the moment, of course, that really is the biggest issue, and we have to deal with that in a very responsible, world-leading manner. Whoever comes out the top of COVID will most likely be not necessarily the next primary global superpower, but will really increase their rankings up the ladder to be number one. Those who are affected by it least and can overcome it the quickest will be on the top rung, or at least very near to it. So that is vitally important at the moment. But in terms of trying to boost the fishing industry, there is plans for I believe, £100 billion investment or subsidy into modernising the fleets in order to enable them to fish more as they have before. So, of course, the stock market has gone up with this announcement as well for the UK. And, although this can't be official investment advice, if you are into real estate, then my suggestion would be to look into fishing ports, historic fishing ports like Hull, places that are some of the cheapest places to live in the UK at the moment, and consider where there is going to be demand in the next few years, as these places will almost come out of nowhere, if you will. So I would strongly recommend looking into them if you're in the fortunate position of being able to invest. And if you are, subscribe stars link down below. So Tory Brexiteers vowed to put together a star chamber of experts to scrutinise the documents over Christmas. Mail Online understands that Johnson was very straightforward and did not try to give a hard sell in his call with senior MPs. And that is ideal, that we all want honesty. That's what we're looking for. One MP says, subject to seeing the full text, the outline was what we hoped. Maybe we'll be a happy Christmas after all. Farage accused Johnson of dropping the ball, but he also stressed that it was progress and that Brexit war is over. He said, pending seeing the text in principle, he would vote. Of course, there are fears political landmines in the text will inevitably be uncovered. Yes. So, as I say, the FTSE 100 closed up just 6 points, as the deal had been largely priced in, while the pound held on to recent gains and rose again slightly to 1.3547 against the US dollar. So, good news all round. As it seems, unless there's something hidden, and it seems from their percentage points, the UK won 2.5 times more than the EU from what they said that they wanted going in, and then what came out. Whether or not you know, because you're kind of doing the art of the deal from Trump, who really knows. But that's as it stands. So, maybe, just maybe, things will be better after all, and we'll be happy to see that change, of course, sooner rather than later. But that's it for now, so let me know down below what you guys think. Do you think this could actually be good news, or are we all now too cynical to actually accept this good news? Either way, let me know. Always intrigued to hear what you guys have to say, and as always, until next time, have a good one.